Hey, everybody. Please tell me in the comments below if this broadcast is clear and tell me if I'm slouching. The number one thing that I don't ever want is to slouch. We don't want that. We don't. Guys, I think I'm 2 minutes late, you know. I am, and I'm ashamed to say that, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just ashamed to say that. But it's all right. It's nobody here but home folk. Jimmy Swaggart used to say that. It's nobody here but home folk. What that means is we're all a family here and we know each other. When you hear people from Louisiana say that, that's what they mean. It's nobody here but home folk. Okay. All right. I'm just trying to suss it out. Know each other. Okay. When you hear people from Louisiana say that, that's what. Okay. I think we're good. I think we are. Please tell me in the comments. Samantha, hello. Hey, everybody. Jump on here real quick, guys, and see if we can get the show on the proverbial road. I don't think my necktie is straight. Something's wrong with it. And you know what they say, if it's not making dollars, then it's not making sense. I need to go to the gym. Lord have mercy. Goodness gracious alive. Mwinga, how are you? I see you. I see you. Bless your heart. I need to center myself is what it is. It's been a long day today. It's Thursday. We're over hump day. When I was a college student, we used to call Wednesday hump day, only because Wednesday was the peak of the week. You know, the peak of the week, the summit of the week, the top of the week. So once you get to Wednesday, then you start descending. To descend means to go down. Thursday, Friday, and then you plateau. You know what it means to plateau? Like a straight. So that Saturday and Sunday, you've plateaued. And then here's the caveat. You do the whole thing all over again. You start Monday. You start climbing up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the same. It's like the Greek philosophical character Sisyphus. You remember that story? The Greek gods had cursed Sisyphus to roll a boulder up the hill, only to get to the top of the hill, the boulder rolls down, and then he does the whole thing over again. He was cursed by the gods to do this for the rest of his life. Can you imagine waking up in the morning, looking at that boulder and thinking, I got to do this all over again? Well, that's what happens when you work. That's what happens. That's life and living. You do the same thing over again. You know, you go through the weekend and Monday morning, got to go to work again and pretend I like it. All right, here we go. Guys, although I must say, for me, I don't feel that way at all. I love coming to work. I love doing what I do. And there's never a time I feel lethargic. You know that word, lethargic? It never feels laborious to me. Somebody said to me the other day while I was doing this, but Mr. Mwewa, why don't you just get to the point? Well, guys, it's called a build-up. You know, when you're doing a live broadcast and you're waiting for people to jump on, you never just want to go straight into the topic. I mean, you're fine to do that. If that's how you roll and you do it that way, you're fine to do it. But I prefer to have a slow, hey, Stacy B, I see you, bless you. I love to have a slow build, okay, to the thingy-mabob, okay? That I love to do that. And for those of you that are bundle deficient, do you know what it means to be bundle deficient? In my language, we say, mwewa shikwete talk time. Mwewa shikwete yama bandos. You're just going to have to tighten your lip and go out there and buy some. If you want to be part of this party, okay, you need to bring your A game. You need to throw down is what you need to do. You can't come up in here and think that we're going to sail with you for free. That's a joke. That's a joke. I'm messing with you. Everybody is welcome, okay? So let's just get the thing, the ball rolling, as Stacy B says. Let's hit the tires and light the fires. Guys, got a bit of gossip for you before we get into the main topic. And a bit of gossip never hurt anyone, as far as I know. Guys, you know what I've decided to do? When it comes to this Lily Lunatic Matambo, honestly, really, I have decided to just completely take my gloves off. Every chance, every opportunity I get to speak about that skank, I'll do it. Okay, I will do it. And I will say this, I've said this a multiplicity of multitudinous tens of times, and I say this from the bottom of my heart. And it's this. If Lily Lunatic Matambo was on fire and the only thing that could save her was me spitting on her, honey, I wouldn't do it. I would not do it. Burn, baby, burn. And somebody is going to say, but Simon, that's not Christian. Honey, the violent take it by force. That's what we do, okay? If any part of this sits wrong with you, hey, listen, you can't kill a rattlesnake wrong. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, think of a snake. Is there a nice way to kill a snake? You can't reach down and say, hey, little snaky, huh? I'm gonna pick you up now. Okay, I got my little warm little hands. I'm gonna pick you up nicely. I'm gonna get my knife and I'm gonna slit your throat. It's gonna hurt, but it's good for you. No, man. When you see a rattlesnake, you don't kill it right. There's no wrong way to kill a rattlesnake. You just lop the head off. All right. Guys, I noticed the other day, I should have a pen in my hand, not a comb. I have combed my hair. Well, right, here it is. This is a pen. It is not a magic wand. Guys, I heard on the wireless not too long ago, Lily Lunatic Matambo was complaining. I got a load of that, huh? She was complaining. She got on her, whatever it is, her live or whatever the hell it is, and she says, well, you know, somebody took a photograph of my passport and, you know, that's against the law and it's just not right and there are people out there that are horrible. And I'm thinking, Lily Lunatic, that's what happens when you make enemies all over the world. They print and publish your stuff. That's what they do. Okay? The quicker you realize that, you know, what amazes me about her is that she thinks it's perfectly okay. It's perfectly fine for her to maliciously slander the whole world. But when the world rises up against her, all of a sudden, oh, she's the victim. Oh, poor little Lily Lunatic Matambo. Oh, I'm a victim. How dare you publish my passport? How dare you do it? How dare? The gall, the unmitigated gall for you to do that. How insensitive of you. Really? Lily? Skank. Tell you what, boy. All righty. Well, Lily, the truth is, if you can dish it out, you can take it. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, honey. That's life, okay? And it's real, so you should say something. You should. All right. You know, that girl doesn't even have a moral compass. She's just out there in the wilderness, shooting in the dark, seeking whom she may devour. She is the devil woman. She's gonna get you now. She is the devil woman. She's gonna get you. Cliff Richard sang that song for Lily Lunatic Matambo. Check the credits on the record. If you look at the record, it'll tell you that. Dedicated to Lily Lunatic Matambo in the future. Okay, that's the truth. It's a joke, guys. I want to share something with you that, you know, it's been bothering me since yesterday, and I wanted to come up here and share this with you. I was telling my wife this last night, and you know, it just bothers me. And I want to share it with you, and it's this. A few minutes ago, I posted a video of council police in Mufulira. For those of you that don't know where Mufulira is, a small little town. I think it's up north. And I was going to say Lusaka City Council. Mufulira City Council were going through the town, and they were asking people that were selling vegetables in the walkway, in the pathway, to move their goods and instead trade in designated spots, which are the markets. That's a given. We've been saying that for years. That's the only solution to the problem, the issue of street traders is the markets. There is no other solution. You can sugarcoat it all you want. You can sprinkle it with all types of innuendo and all types of excuses. The bottom line is, if you want our streets, our sidewalks to be open and clear for pedestrians to use, if you want our roads to be open and clear for motorists to use, it is imperative that our people are moved to designated spots, which are, wait for it, the markets, and only the markets. Anyway, so yesterday, you know, I've got this thing, and I've been fighting this for years. Every time I drive through the street, I complain about this to the traders on the street. I drive through and I see young men, young women using wheelbarrows and buckets. They literally set up shop on the road. And I'm constantly having to say, please move your stuff. I don't want to dodge you, because their line of logic, and listen to me, their line of logic is, you can drive around me. Yes, I'm in the road. Yes, I'm trading in the street, but there's enough room for you to drive around me. That's how they think. My position is, no, I don't have to drive around you. If there are 2 lanes, I should be able to use 1 lane. If you are occupying that lane with your wheelbarrow full of oranges and your wheelbarrow full of socks, and you make me avoid you, you're causing traffic. My people don't get that. They don't understand it. It is not crystallized in their minds. So yesterday evening, I was, driving down the lane. There was a lady that was displaying watches and jewelry, rings and necklaces and earrings and all. And she was literally setting up in the middle of the street. As I was driving through, the side of my car sort of tipped her table. All of her watches and jewelry and stuff fell into the drainage system. Can I tell you that the other street vendors rose up, this was last night, and they all surrounded my car and they started screaming and yelling, how dare you knock over this woman's watches, rings, and jewelry. Now, let me explain something to you. If you're not from the street, like I am, if you haven't dealt with street people like I have, in a situation like that, when you panic, it can easily go pear-shaped. This is the number one thing you do when people surround your car. Never sit in the car when they start yelling at you and saying, come out, and you never sit there. You come out of your car. You close the door, you lock the door. You stand there and you engage them. If you sit in the car and hope that you can sort of drive your way out of that crowd, 2 things are going to happen. Number one of them is going to conveniently scream and say, you've run over his foot. That's a hospital bill for you. That's number 1. Number 2, that crowd is going to pick up rocks and they're going to stone your car. Because to them, you are fleeing the scene of a crime. To them, it's a crime that you knocked over a table that was laden with watches, rings, and jewelry. To them, you have caused heartache and pain to a street trader when you, as the driver, could have easily avoided them by driving around. So yesterday evening, when they started doing this, gathering around, and they surrounded my car and they started yelling, because, they know me as someone that is anti-street vending. So as far as they're concerned, I am their enemy. This is how they perceive me, okay? So I knew what was up. I knew the deal. I knew the drill. Immediately, I just got out of the car. I shut my door. I locked my door. And I stood right in front of them and I said, guys, all of you know good and hell well. The problem here is that anyone who trades on the street is causing traffic. They try to incite the rest of the crowd, saying, no, you saw her. They were yelling at me and saying, no, you knew she was there. Yes, she was trading on the middle of the road, but you could see that she was clearly on the road, on the street. You could have easily avoided her. So because you have spilt her merchandise, you're going to have to pay for it. I said, the hell I am. I said, I'm not doing that. I said, I'm not paying $1. I'm not paying anything because you guys know this is wrong and you know that she shouldn't be trading. Oh my goodness. It was a back and forth. But you have to stand your ground. No, and then one of them yelled in the back, if you don't pay her, if you don't pay her, we're going to stone your car. Now, at that moment, I looked at the guy and I said, you're going to stone it for what? Just say you are looking for an excuse to stone my car. Because that's what it is. The bottom line is that these people that perceive you as someone that is ahead, because one of them even yelled that from the back. He said, we are suffering, you're rich. I said, it's got nothing to do with that. Why are you deflecting attention from the conversation? The conversation is the road must be clear. That's the conversation. It's got nothing to do with what you're talking about. What, you're poor and I'm rich? How is that? In what world is that a conversation? You tell me. In what universe are we sitting down at the table discussing our status, our financial status? What we're talking about is the functionality of the road. Dare I say to him, you say this because you don't drive a car and you don't know the inconvenience of driving through a street that is blocked, that is hindered, that is fettered. Dare I say that to him? Oh my goodness. The response would be, you see, you are showing off because you drive. What is wrong with our people? What is wrong with Zambians? What's wrong with Zambians? Especially on this side of town, where they perceive you because they, in their minds, and this is one of the things I said to them, you know, when the guy yelled, it says, I said, honey, if I was rich, if I were to be a rich person, why the hell am I coming to work every single day? I come to work earlier than you. These street people, they come to work at 9, 10 o'clock. I'm here by 7:30, 8 o'clock. I said, what are you talking about? I come here before you. I hustle just like you. I'm here at 7:30, 8 o'clock. I leave at 18:30, 19 hours. So what do you mean when you say, I'm rich and you're poor? We're both hustlers. The more I engaged, the more I talked, the more they began to see the sense. But it had to take that for them to see logic. Why must they always run to this idea that, no, you're rich, we're poor, so we get a pass, we can place our goods in the middle of the street because, and I said, you're not poor. You're here working, you're trading, you're making money, you are generating an income. How dare you sit there and say you're poor? Every day you come here, every day you make money. When you go home, you've got a wallet, a bulging pocket, and a wallet full of cash. How dare you use me as your excuse? You're just looking for an excuse to stone me, to beat me up to a pulp, and to destroy my property. That's all you want. Yeah. And it breaks my heart that I have to live through this every day. You know, it just makes me sick. You know, it really does. I mean, after a while, it starts to get to you, you know, thinking, you know, must every day be a challenge? Must every day be a problem? Things that are simple and logical becomes a problem. The crowd finally began to disperse, you know, and like I earlier said, one of them was trying to force me to pay her money for her spilt goods. I said, I'm not paying anything. Me paying her legitimizes her act of placing things in the middle of the road. If I take out money and I pay her money, what I'm saying to her is, oh, I'm sorry I knocked over your goods. Please, as soon as I pay you, take all of your goods, put them back on the street. I said, honey, I'm not paying you anything. I'm not paying. The lesson here is don't trade in the middle of the street. It took me about 45 minutes for them to start dispersing one by one, walking off with their tails between their legs, because they knew that their argument was weak and it was inconsequential. They knew they were wrong. All we're fighting for as a community is we want our roads to be clear when we drive through them. Who the hell wants an inhibited road full of wheelbarrows and sausages and then it's my job now to avoid them to get through? No, malo iliko mungapiti hapa, nchendo kweli piteni chiteni so muraunde so. There's enough space, mate, with your car. You can drive around me. Yes, I'm blocking the road, but you can just drive around and go that way there. You see the type of people I deal with every day? You see that? Breaks my heart. Breaks my heart. That is, I am surrounded by imbeciles. That's a line from Superman. General Zod said that. Or was it General Zod? I am surrounded by imbeciles. Yeah, I think Zod said that. But it's true. These are the people I have to deal with every single day. Anyway, I needed to vent that because it was bothering me. I told my wife this last night, and I did feel better after I told her. But then I want to share it with you because you know, when you're dealing with people that simply don't see logic, something that is simple, something that is basic. No, ni mole mera, vutika. Awashuka. Chalo chesuka tuishimayo. Anyway, I gotta go. I gotta go home. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Sayonara.